Good afternoon from Southeast Asia. I used to think that aliens, the possibility of aliens from outer space coming here and talking to us and, maybe occasional probing, something like that. I used to think that was the most fascinating subject on the face of the earth in the history of all mankind. Now it's gotten bumped to number 2. I think now the thing that has the most potential is quantum physics. I think aliens if they exist, if supposed aliens supposedly exist, then I think they use quantum physics a lot. Quantum mechanics, quantum physics. But quantum stuff is cooler than mere aliens. Unfortunately, I don't have any training in quantum anything at all, so I can't talk about it. So we're going to continue talking about aliens and hope that we can glean some tiny bits of knowledge about quantum stuff by looking at alien stuff. Does that make any sense at all? No, probably not. Okay, here, God, location, Jumilla, Murcia, Spain. I know I mispronounced it. I don't care. Summer 1947, times afternoon. The 18-year-old witness was staying home alone one day when through an open window she spotted a small white oval-shaped craft going over some nearby vineyards where there was no road. And it ain't no hovercraft. Moments later, 2 men approached the house. Okay, so we're surmising they parked this turkey and they're walking over to the house. I take these line by line and I pick them apart. We got got 9,400 of these cases. We've gone through 1,400 of them on these websites, so we have 8,000 left to go. And we go through them line by line, we pick them apart, and we try very hard to disqualify them because you have to. So anyway, line, sentence by sentence, I look for bullshit. I mean, so far I haven't found any in this one. But moments later, 2 men approached the house. These men were very short and wore white, oh my God, and wore white, tight-fitting garments. Okay. Lots of these reports are faked, they're copied, they're made up. In 1947, there wasn't much that people could copy. Some comic books, maybe some talkies. I remember one from about 1930 or something, Journey to the Moon or some bullshit thing. Pretty rudimentary stuff. People weren't taking that content and copying it. Really, I don't think they were. But this line right here makes me sit up and take notice. The line is, these men were very short and wore white, tight-fitting garments. Okay. After 9,400 reports pouring through these things over decades and decades and decades, I know that tight-fitting, white or silvery tight-fitting garments are reported thousands of times. Okay, as of, let's say, the 50s onward, 60s onward, people could watch a movie and they could see an alien something with a tight-fitting, wearing some tight-fitting white silvery thing. And so they could just copy that. They could extrapolate that and they could make up stories including that. In 1947, that wasn't happening. It's fascinating. White or silvery is the number 1 reported color of all supposed alien garments. And I have a theory that I'm not going to bore you with now, and you can thank me later. They ask for a glass of water because of the brochure when they come in from from Zeta Reticuli, you got to stop at Pluto. Okay, there's a customs, for the solar system. It's at Pluto. And they got to stop there and they got to get permits. A long questionnaire. You know, they got to tell the customs immigration, what the hell, what are you going to do there on Earth? You know, and, well, we'd like to do a little probing, you know, and like to eat some cats, like to try that. And they say, okay, for each incident, you got to pay a fee, you know. Probing is this much. And eating cats, you know, that's a lot less. Okay. But they're given a brochure, they're given a travel brochure, do's and don'ts of Earth. And I think in the brochure, up there near the top, it's a semi-glossy color trifold thing. I've seen it, you know. And they say, if you want to break the ice with Earthlings, you go to the door and you ask for a glass of water. And the Earthlings are like, oh yeah, sure, man. You thirsty? Yeah, we got a lot of water here. Don't worry about it. Here, I'll get you some. Okay. They asked for a glass of water and asked some very strange questions about the nature of time. That's fascinating in and of itself. Lots and lots of reports where they ask and or talk about the nature of time. My brain is not big enough to understand the nature of time. I wish it was. If I had a cat's brain, you know, maybe I could understand it, but mine's much smaller than that. Rat size, really. Nature of time. She doesn't say they're discussing the nature of time. They're asking questions about it. What it appears to be is that they're asking questions about our perception of time, because their perception of time seems to be completely different than ours. So that's interesting. Okay. Now she says, that same night, the two little men return. Okay, so they ask about the nature of time, they drink their water, and they go. And she's thinking, oh man, dodged that bullet, didn't I? And then she says, that same night, the two little men returned. How little? It doesn't say how little. I mean, if they're 5'6", then you're thinking, yeah, you know, that's okay. But if they're 3.5 feet, you're thinking, oh, hell. Huh. Okay. That same night, the two little men returned and told the witness to follow them while her family slept. Okay, she's what? She's 18? She should know better by 18. Oh, in 1947, I guess people trusted a little bit. You know, not like now. She would just pull a Glock out of her purse and boom, 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 boom. Scammer little bastards. You won't be doing this again, will you? Okay. And I'm guessing she did. They led her to a round object which had landed among the olive trees. See, I read slowly because I'm looking for bullshit. I'm looking for bullshit. Because I'm thinking, could this be a camp trailer? You know? And these are just a couple of horny travelers who think they got a live one in this girl. Okay. Huh. They led her to a round object which had landed among the olive trees. She then apparently went through, oh, hell. See, the right eye reads faster than the left eye, and I see shit coming here. And I know exactly what happened now. She then apparently went through an, wait for it, in-depth, wait for it, medical examination inside the object. And that's code for you know exactly what. During that time, a normal-looking woman, during the time she's being probed, I guess. They got video? See, if they had video, it'd be a hell of a lot more convincing, wouldn't it? During that time, a normal-looking woman with long dark hair. Ah, what the hell? What the hell? Oh, this is just odd. During that time, during the time of the lengthy, in-depth medical examination, parentheses, probing, during that time, a normal-looking woman with long dark hair was with her, comforting and calming her. Well, this is just twisted shit. Oh, and it gets worse. God, this is straight out of a freaking porn movie. The witness feels that something was implanted in her. Yeah, probably quite a few somethings if there was a cue. And then that's the end of the report, I guess. There's no comments down here. I assume, you know, she was all tired and raggedy feeling, and the woman with the long dark hair gave her a couple of tongue kisses, and she wasn't really sure if she was okay with that. She vowed to think about it more later on. And she goes home, I guess. The end. Hell. Okay, credibility. We're looking for credibility. That's what we do here. We score these things on degrees of credibility. Most of them get no credibility, and they get the delete key. This one is just, I don't know, it's disturbing. I mean, there's plenty of cases of supposed probings, and that's code. You know, they never say, oh yeah, man, those aliens, they duct taped me down with Gorilla Tape, and then, you know, they had some probes and stuff like that, and they vibrated, and I don't know if I really liked it or not. Okay, they don't come out and say that. They just say, well, you know, the investigators are talking to her and asking her what happened. Yeah, they did an examination, you know. That's all. In depth, you know, took 5-6 hours. I don't know. It's an examination, you know. Shut up about it. Okay. So when they say examination, that's code. We know exactly what happened. Okay. Credibility or not. This thing is so bizarre, I don't really want to give it any credibility, but there's too many things in here that fit with thousands of other reports, and they can't all be making them up. We're getting reports like this out of every continent, almost every country, almost every language, for hundreds of years. So they're all made up. Every single one of them is made up. From farm girls and boys to computer programmers in the 80s and 90s, to police people, to political figures, every language, every country, they can't all make up the same stories with the same elements in them. They cannot. Maybe as of, you know, the 70s, 80s, 90s, certainly after there was an internet, then people could go on the internet and look up these stories and say, oh yeah, let's see that. I'm going to make one up. I'm going to make up a hoax, and I'm going to include this and this and this and this. That way, you know, people will think I'm telling the truth. Okay, maybe there are some fringe personalities that do that. Certainly as of the internet, but not in 1947 and not in 1910. And okay, credibility or not? Yes, credibility. How much? And the way we do this, if you haven't listened to any other tapes, we have a big bucket, and we're trying to fill it with sand. It's the bucket of credibility. We call it the sands of credibility. Okay, so for every case that might have a little bit of credibility, we take a little, new camera. We take a little pinch of sand, or a big pinch, or a handful, and we throw it in that bucket. It's 8 gallons. Picture of it on alienanalprobe.com with a cat. Okay. And if that bucket's ever full to overflowing, then we say, okay, that's enough. That's enough. We believe in aliens. Okay, and it's getting up there now. It's getting fullish. Okay. So how much sand can we give this thing? I give this quite a bit, you know. She then apparently went through and I give it like 4 grains of sand. Okay. Yeah, I do. Into the bucket. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Now what else we got here? It used to be you could see the screen as I went through here, but I'm doing new camera things. Okay, hold on, bear with me. This is not the very best setup right now, just because it's a new camera. Okay, here we go. Redding, California, fall, 1952, time is dusk. The main witness was at home when he felt an urge to go over the bay. Okay, you got to straighten out their screwed up English here sometimes. The main witness was at home when he felt an urge to go over to the bay window and look outside. Okay. Oh, God. Towards the southwest, he saw a huge silvery oval-shaped craft moving slowly above the treetops and coming toward the witness. Okay. Redding, California, I've been there about 800,000 times. It's up near Mount Shasta. Mount Shasta is one of the woo-woo homes of the woo-woo people. You know, something lives there. Depending on who you talk to, it's Bigfoot or it's fairies or it's some other bullshit. Okay, so anyway, this guy's in Redding, California. You know, we can expect people to see things in Redding, California. Okay, so it's craft moving slowly over the treetops, coming toward the witness. The witness then yelled out. Well, I like this. The witness then yelled out, and the rest of the occupants of the house came over to look at the object. Okay. Underneath the craft, they could see an orange light coming out, and there was a section on the bottom that moved in a circular fashion. Pretty stock report. 1952. He did not have the internet in 1952. The object was silent as it passed over the house. Later, as the main witness was going to bed, he noticed his twin brother sitting upright in bed, apparently in a trance. How old is this witness? Doesn't say. I thought it was an older man. Now I'm thinking if he's sleeping with his twin brother, you know, he's probably under 10-ish, maybe 10. So he thinks his brother is in a trance. Okay. A bluish light filled the room coming from outside the bedroom window. As the witness turned to talk to his brother, he caught sight of a tall figure in the room. Oh, hell. I'm pretty okay with all this alien stuff until they get to the point where they come and materialize through the walls in the middle of the night and do things to people in their bed. Then I question stuff even more than I normally do. He caught sight of a tall figure in the room. The figure had a large hairless head, large black eyes, and very pale skin. He was also very thin. He wore a black cape that hung down to his knees. Cape. Who the hell wears a cape? Except Darth Vader. The witness ran toward the open door, but a second being blocked his path. Okay, now it's getting serious. The being was apparently a female and communicated with the witness by using telepathy and was able to calm him down. I could go Howard Stern with this, but I'm not. I hate his guts and his liver so much. The female being had an egg-shaped head with a pointed chin Both things reported again and again and again and again. A small mouth and large black almond-shaped eyes reported 50 bazillion times around the world for a couple of thousand years or more. Actually, quite a bit more. She was also very thin, with a long neck and pale gray skin. Next, the witness remembered being floated up in a beam of light along with the female being. He found himself inside an object with many corridors and other beings. He was taken down a hallway and into a room where he sat in a chair. Pretty stock report, you know. A device was placed on each side of his head. He was apparently able to see images of future events. Oh, God, and here's the kicker. He was later given an, wait for it, what's the name of the website? alienanalprobe.com. He was later given an extensive medical examination and then booted out the hatch. There's no comments on this one. The aliens really don't seem to be particular male or female. You know, they're going to get probed. It really doesn't matter. It's about 50-50. I don't see. No, it's about 55% women, 45% males get probed. And other things, you know, not only just clinical probing. Okay. Credibility or not. If this report came from 2005, I would give it just teeniest bit of credibility. Coming from 1952, we're knowing these things and copying them from some other source, especially this many points, would be pretty close to impossible. So I'm giving it quite a bit of credibility. I'm giving it. See, I'm torn. I don't like that when they say that beings materialize through the wall or some damn thing. Actually, they're not saying that. They're saying it came in through the open doorway, and the female one guarded the open door. So I guess they opened the door and came in. But how'd they get in the house? You know, the door should have been. I don't know. It gives me a headache. I've given it 10 grains of sand anyway. I don't know. 10 grains of sand. Okay, into the bucket. That's it. Okay. One more. Got a headache. Okay, what is this? Oh, God. Well, I didn't want to do this, but I have to because I used to live there. Tahunga Canyon, California, March 22nd, 1953. Time is 0200 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Sarah Shaw and Jan Whitley were staying in a remote cabin. Nothing remote there now. I bet it was just gorgeous, lovely place in 1953. Okay, Sarah Shaw and Jan Whitley were staying in a remote cabin when they awakened to find all sounds outside had ceased, and a blue-white light. Red Bull. I want an IV. I want a Red Bull IV. I love the stuff until you crash. Okay. All sounds outside had ceased, and a blue-white light moving outside, casting shadows across the walls. Blue-white light. Cops. They're being raided. Jan got out of bed and felt a headache and a sense of coldness. A sensation of giddiness and confusion overcame both women, whose conscious memory then lapsed until 0420. 4:20. So that's what it says, 2 hours, 20 minutes. That's time enough for probing. Under hypnosis. I don't know what I think of hypnosis. I've seen it done quite a lot. Nobody ever tried to hypnotize me that I know of. Maybe they did, and I danced like a chicken for an hour and I never knew it. I don't know. Under hypnosis, Sarah recalled that several beings approached the cabin and passed through a closed window. See, this is the part that bugs me. Passed through a closed window. I mean, this can happen in a dream really easily. What's more likely? Aliens from outer space or a dream? Okay. Approached the cabin and passed through a closed window and the kitchen door. Ah. 8 shadowy beings. Oh, there's 8 of them now. Entered the cabin and placed their hands. Excuse me, here we go. Here we go, wake up. Oh, God dang it. Oh, come on, now this is what year is this? Oh, 53. There wasn't a lot of LSD around in 53. A little bit. There's a lot of mushrooms around. I'm thinking they ate a lot of them the night before. Okay. 8 shadowy beings entered the cabin and placed their hands on the 2 women and apparently took control over them. Easy to do if they're full of mushrooms. The beings were humanoids of slender build with narrow shoulders and long arms. Their skin felt dry and cold like a snake. No, I didn't say the snake part. Their faces were oval and hairless, featureless except for the eyes. Faces were oval and hairless. Okay. Featureless except for the eyes, which were narrow and long and appeared covered with a membrane. God almighty. A ski mask seemed to cover their faces, leaving holes for the eyes. This could be just 2 rapists, you know? Yeah, that's it. They went to the bar. Somebody put something in their drinks. They went home. They fell asleep. They woke up all weirded out. And a couple of rapists come. They're the guys who put the shit in their drinks. And now these guys show up at their little cabin thing with ski masks. You know? Okay, they also wore black skin-tight, here we go, skin-tight uniform, coveralls, mittens, and boots. I don't know why they'd have mittens and boots. Tahunga almost never gets cold. I've seen it snow there like once or like 1.5 times. Never really gets cold. I guess if they're far enough up the canyon, dead of winter, you know, January 15th, yeah, maybe they would need coveralls and mittens and boots. I don't know. Looking for bullshit. Most of the beings were 5 feet tall, and most of these had oval heads. Maybe. I mean, it's kind of hard to fake that. It'd be hard to find 8 rapists who were all 5 feet tall and had oval heads. You know, that's a stretch. Some had heads wider at the bottom than at the top and were apparently female. Female alien rapists. 2 taller beings appeared to be the leaders. The beings took both women into a hovering Saturn-shaped craft with a rim or platform around it. Common. It glowed with various colors and made a whining sound. Sarah felt herself floating into the craft on a beam of light. She felt tranquil, unafraid, and even enjoyed the experience. Well, I don't know. It depends on the mushrooms, I guess. But see, that's the other thing. If they're full of mushrooms, the rapists might not all be 5 feet tall. They might just be perceived as 5 feet tall. But Jan resisted the beings, and she was rendered unconscious by an injection and was carried inside. Okay, here's where I'm having trouble. I'm having trouble with this. If these aliens got here from Zeta Reticuli, I used to say Zeta Reticuli. Oh, hell, I don't even remember what I used to say. People have corrected me both ways. Zeta Reticuli, Zeta Reticuli. It's spelled both ways. I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to say. Okay. I question whether or not these ultra advanced beings would be using hypodermic things to make injections. It just seems like they would have a better way, right? I mean, that's ancient technology. We're almost beyond hypodermic injections. But 100,000 years from now, they're still using injections to inject humans? I'm not really buying that. Okay, in a large domed room, here we go. Oh my God. I'm picturing red lighting, indirect, and Barry Manilow playing, incense, some candle. Okay. In a large domed room, both women were then extensively examined. What the hell? Extensively examined. And you know, I've trained you already. You know what that means. I mean, they were nice girls, right? They're not going to say, yeah, we got probed up the ass for 9 hours. And I liked it more than what's your name? You know. Okay. No, they're going to say we got extensively examined. They're not just going to say, yeah, they checked our blood pressure. No. Extensively examined. And scanned also. Throughout the examination, a tall being directed the work from a balcony-like extension on a wall. So that's almost like a little theater, you know. You ever play Gorn in VR in Oculus 3, any of the Oculus, any of the Meta headsets, you can play Gorn. And they got those little creepy bastards up there in the balconies watching you and telling you what to do. And I'm flashing on that right now. Okay. Throughout the examination, a tall being directed the work from a balcony. See, they're not saying directing the examination, they're saying directing the work. I mean, maybe it's like a big old manually operated probe instead of one of the newer automatic ones. Okay. Throughout the examination, a tall being directed the work from a balcony-like extension on a wall. He wore a light-colored suit with black stripes, and his hands were bare, showing gray flesh. Hell. Okay. Well, I like the report. I don't like the notion that they got injections. I mean, who am I? I don't know. I've never been to Zeta Reticuli. Maybe that's what they use there. I don't know. That's really the only clinker in this whole thing. Oh, the ski mask. I mean, I don't know. I'm scanning. Normally you can see it, but you can't now. Okay, nobody left any notes or comments. Okay, I got to give it some credibility, mostly because it's 1953. The hypodermic thing bugs me a lot. Without the mention of the hypodermic, you know, if they just say, yeah, they did something and what's her name calmed down, you know, I mean, I would have skipped right through it. But the injection thing just bothers me. Without that component, I'd probably give it like 10 or 15 grains of sand. With the injection thing in there, I got to give it like 3 or 4 grains of sand. That's the best I can do, because that kicks a lot of the credibility of it out. It's reported a lot. 9,400 cases. I've been through them all 3 times. This is the 4th time. I don't remember most of them because it was like 30 or 40 years ago that I went through them. So most of these are cold reads for me. This one I don't remember at all. I don't even remotely remember it. I don't know. Okay. 3 or 4 grains. That's it. Okay. And that's it. For some reason, the last couple of nights, these are giving me a headache, and I don't know why. I think because I sense the bullshit. And bullshit always gives me a headache. Yeah, I think that's it. When I get a headache, I should pay attention to it, because that's probably my bullshit meter going off in the back of my brain. That's probably what it is, yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, and good evening, and good night. I don't have a teleprompter. And I'm wondering, even if you're reading a prepared statement through a teleprompter, it works. It works very well. But if I'm reading these reports through a teleprompter, see, I'm trying to decide whether to get one. If I'm reading these reports through a teleprompter, I mean, I'm talking directly to your eyes when I do that. So it's going to give away the fact that it's a teleprompter. You know, I'm not reading the reports off the shine of your glasses, you know. I can't see that a teleprompter really is going to help this particular way of doing these. I don't know. Okay. Thank you very much, and good evening and good night.